But what keeps you up at night, for me, it's our new standard poodle that I'm afraid is going to have an accident. But I don't think they're actually accidents. But go ahead. Start down with David.
Well, what keeps me up at night, there's a lot that keeps me up at night. I think we're in a precarious situation in the world right now, right? The stock market by historical standards is at a very high level. We've got these crazy world events going on. Interest rates, inflation, there's a lot. And of course, the big one is the technology and the AI and what it's going to do for us. So there's a lot that keeps me up at night. Fortunately, in Tampa, as real estate goes, we're in a great spot. I don't think demand is going to change pretty much. As I said earlier, I think we're on the cusp of seeing some larger shopping centers being built in the next few years, which would be the best case, certainly for me. Worst case is, I think, we drop into recession and things slow down, but I wouldn't expect retail to just crash and burn back in 08, 09, that kind of thing. So worst case is we slow down, maybe rents drop, vacancies go up a little bit, but nothing dramatic. Best case is we start seeing some significant new retail construction in the next few years.
Yeah, notwithstanding the unemployment concerns and CPI inflation, Tampa, I don't think there's one of the best places in the country to invest in. Do I see things getting slower? Absolutely. I mean, 2-3 years ago, Bob, I think the city of Tampa taxable value assessments were increasing over 12%. The numbers I think I just got the other day this year is going to be 3.9. So it's definitely a tougher market, and apartments. And
that's mostly new construction.
I beg your pardon?
Most of that's new construction that's coming out.
Correct. So I mean, that's people see Owen. Before January 1. If you take out the new construction, you'd actually be, I would think, probably in the negative. So anyway, again, I think Tampa's, born and raised here. Dad's from Ybor City, mom's from West Tampa, and I can't think of a better place.
You're from a mixed marriage like me.
Yeah.
We often call our team No Sleep, and I sleep like a baby because I can't keep up with that. We're always working. So I think the most important thing for us as advocates to our clients, whether you're on the landlord side or the tenant side, is really adding value and navigating them through the changes. Because anybody can be a broker, and if it's only about the commission, then you're adding no value. You have to understand what's going on geopolitically, AI, land, power. You really need to understand how all of this affects your clients, whether they're selling or they're buying or they're leasing. You have to be juggling many parts of the information, if you will. And sometimes when you're representing a tenant who was paying, let's just say $6.95 a foot, and now they're looking at a $14 rent, you've got to navigate them through those conversations and figure out how their business works. Because here's the thing, most people that lease space, real estate is a line item on their budget, on their balance sheet, and it's a pain in the butt. And you have to really know how to handle that. So you have to be educated and learn and just listen to podcasts and do as much information finding as you can. And by the way, as a consumer buying a home, you should be just as educated, because all of this is changing. The legislation that we talked about earlier that's impacting services and public policy. Guys, look up Jeff Brandes, by the way. He's brilliant. I mean, on so many levels, but his family history is unreal. And I love his passion because he's really taking it personally and he's doing something about it. So I gotta say, he should be on every panel. He brings a lot to the table, but it's a different world and we're navigating it, and it's just, this is a great market to be in. Capital's flooding into this market. We get 4, 5, 6 calls a week. Capital investors, we have money, we need to spend money, we want to be in Tampa. Tampa was a tertiary market before, it is now in the top tier. Everyone wants to be here, so.
And we really have seen that. I remember 5 years ago when we did this, we talked about it being a tertiary market, and it's changing quickly.
Yeah, no, it really has, and we're on the national radar screen. I think part of what has made us attractive relative to, we were a bit of a hidden gem and affordable, and there's so many things that locally will continue to drive our industry and this market, and I do not have any concern about the Tampa Bay region in the long run. But I will be the one, to bring up third panel in a row, to bring up affordability and transportation, and we can beat a dead horse every day, but it's so vital to this region when we think about our core, and it's not a single core, it's the Ybor, it's downtown, it's West Shore and into Pinellas County. We're a living, breathing region as a whole, and if we can't figure out how, it's not a region where people can commute a long way into one common core, transact, and go home at the end of the day. We're constantly moving throughout our region. If we do not figure out how to solve that problem, then it will tarnish us nationally. I think some of our focus may be, in the wrong direction. I look at how we have, in many instances in our core, replaced lanes of traffic with bike lanes and reducing traffic flow 25, 33, 50%, depending on how many lanes we take away and replace with a bike lane that you maybe see one or two riders on it. Nothing against cyclists, but I don't know too many that plan to dress up for work and commute to and from work in August, rainstorms, hoping not to get struck by lightning.
Are we wishing for them to get it by lightning?
No, I just think it's clearly a problem that needs to be solved if we're going to continue to thrive as a region. And what that is, I don't have the answer. And affordability, it's the same issue. We can build this great region and all these new developments, but if we can't get people there or people out, then it's going to hinder us in the long run. We can go the way Atlanta's had some of that suffering, Miami the same thing. We moved my team out of downtown Brickell in Miami out to the Gables because it would take them so long to commute there. By the time they did, they had to drive somewhere else for a meeting, and we don't want to suffer some of the same mistakes that some of our similarly growing regions have historically.
By the way, shout out to the Tampa Housing Authority is here, and they do a really good job with workforce housing for our community. But I do think that policy and private developers need to change what they deliver and start thinking about that workforce housing in like a master plan development.
Yeah, the world just, I don't know, I'm a younger guy, and maybe there were times that all of this felt a little bit easier, but the world is just such a complicated place now, and we're all for commodity traders to understand what's going on with tariff pricing, what's the next geopolitical spat, and it really translates into what we do every day. And it's like, I think the question is what kind of keeps me up at night. It's like news that the switchgear that's going to power up a whole office building is delayed 6 months because of some ongoing political negotiation. So it's you're forced to really become a jack of all trades in understanding these things. And I joke about it with my wife too, because as an office landlord, we follow our tenant companies so closely, and particularly if we're pursuing and executing a new lease with a company. It's like, oh well, they were in the Wall Street Journal about getting bought or something like that. So it's like you got to follow so many different marketplaces so closely in order to do something that historically kind of seems narrow in its lens, but it's really not, I guess. So yeah.
So and this is a question that came across with, originally we had a question on this. I'll bring it up to you. You can answer if you like, or you can just say simply none yet. Would Romney like to shed any additional light on their goals?